What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how to make faster breaks and how wide receivers can run faster, more explosive routes. So we're going to be talking about how you guys should be dropping your hips into a route, how you guys can create energy while selling vertical and be able to get out of a break efficiently, and then we're going to be talking about how you guys can make a correct speed cut with this route here from Devontae Adams, okay? So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it teaches you a lot of new things about route running and just what you guys can do to become a better overall route runner. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you're maybe not sure what exercises you should be doing to improve your speed, to improve your explosiveness, to improve your on-field performance as a wide receiver specifically, check out that very first link in the description below for our 12-week-long wide receiver gym workout plan. What you'll get access to is 12 weeks of daily workouts. We also include rest days and conditioning days, but daily workouts of specific gym exercises and workouts that wide receivers should do, broken down into sets, repetitions, and we give examples of each exercise. So check out that very first link below. This is a 3-month-long program. Very first link in the description. Let's get started with this video. So first route is from DK Metcalf. We're going to be talking about how your hips, fellas, is how you guys will slow down, okay? So now, hips and powerful steps. So anytime we get to the top of the route, so many receivers have been taught wrong throughout their career that when you get to this break point, you want to beat the drum. You want to chop your steps. You want to kind of slow down and decelerate. That's not the mindset you want to have as a wide receiver. The mindset you want to have as a wide receiver is you want to be violent with your movement, you want to be explosive with your movement, and you want to create energy. So how do you actually do that? It comes down to having this great trigger step. Like you see this inside foot here that DK is going to be breaking down on. They call that a trigger step, where you're snapping your weight down. You're snapping down. I'm sure all of you have heard that phrase before. Now, the snap down is kind of a unique thing because so many guys can take the hard step, right? But they don't trust their hips to drop down. And that's how you guys ultimately would get out of breaks faster and create more explosion, is by trusting your hips. That's the phrase that I tell my wide receivers is, hey, you want to trust your hips. You want to trust your hips into the break. Know that the hips and you being able to drop your butt down and bring your chin to your knee is what's going to slow you down, right? So Metcalf, he always does a great job of stepping super hard, but there are times, and we've all probably seen it, where he likes to drift on a route, where he's taking all these choppy steps and he'll kind of drift up into this break, especially on comebacks. And that's a lot of receivers. That's not just him. And again, it's very tough. He's a big dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is, big guy. So it's tougher for him to get in and out of these breaks. But when we have a route like a stop route, we need to stop right on a dime. It's not only about dropping your hips, dropping your butt, and having that level change, but you need to step hard with your feet. So what do I mean by that? You don't want to be making this break on your tippy toes. You don't want to be coming up into this thing. And you see how Metcalf, those steps have a purpose. Those steps are to create energy and to bring him to a complete stop. You have to drop your hips and drop your butt to be able to slow down. But the steps being powerful is what will create energy, but also help you decelerate to make that faster break at the top of the route. So make sure, fellas, anytime that I'm getting into a route, like a comeback route, a stop route, a curl, I'm using my hips like so. I'll play this thing again. I'm snapping down, but my steps are powerful and they serve a purpose. You see how he's taking these choppy steps? If I take choppy steps, I'm going to drift right with him. But if I take powerful steps and I control the hip drop, I will be more consistent. Now, when you do those powerful steps, fellas, you don't want to step on your heels. I cannot stress that enough. You want to step on the arch of your foot. If you step on your heels, that's going to put a lot of pressure on your Achilles and a lot of pressure on your ankles. You want to drop the hips and be on that arch of your foot, not your tippy toes, not your heels, arch of the foot. That's how you can get out of that route a little bit faster. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Metcalf, dropping his hips into the break and being violent with his feet, okay? So now, the second key to making a faster break at the top of the route is actually selling vertical and forcing yourself to have to be explosive, right? So many receivers, what they'll do is they will take that, they'll think that they're dropping down into a break. They'll think that they're snapping down. They think they have that trigger step. They're stepping hard, but just quite frankly, you're not fast, you're not explosive, and you're not creating energy. So what you have to do is you have to stay committed to a break to even give yourself a chance to be violent with your hips and create that explosion at the top of the route. So you see when this receiver here is bursting up and he's got this full stride. He is in full stride and his hips and his shoulders are committed to the break. And he's running this not a speed cut out, but he's running this out route where he's snapping this thing off. Could be the same thing as a dig. It's a 90-degree cut. What a lot of receivers will do is they'll start to round their hips and they'll start to round their shoulders. They'll start to turn it to the break point. So what ends up happening is that when they snap down like so, their hips and their shoulders are already giving away where they're running. Now, the problem with that is that a DB, A, that's an indicator, but B, when you start to turn your hips and you start to turn your shoulders too early and you start to round this thing off before you make the break, you're not going to have any explosion because you don't need that explosive drop to change direction. This is all about changing direction right here. So to force yourself to kind of have that mind-body connection with that snap down, because you could be trying to snap down all day long, but it might just not be working for you. You might not be as explosive as we think we could be. Commit your hips and commit your shoulders to the break and stay in stride. The next thing that a lot of guys like to do that will slow them down down a lot at the top of the route is right before the break, they'll start chopping their feet. They'll decrease their stride length. They'll start shortening up their stride. They start to prepare for the break. And then what ends up happening is that they don't sell vertical long enough. And this break isn't that explosive. Imagine taking like 5 choppy steps and trying to snap down. That doesn't do anything. That's why I can't stand those receivers coaches that'll set up like 8 cones and they'll have it only be like 2 yards apart and guys take short choppy strides, then they snap down. That doesn't do anything. You have to make sure that we work on staying in stride and trusting your hips, just like the last clip we talked about, but committing to the fade. Commit to the route. It's no different than if I was running like a post out route. I got to commit to the post and then I snap this thing off to get back to the out route, but I have to commit to it. I can't start to round too early, give that indicator to a DB. I have to fully commit to the fade, use my hips, use the powerful steps, get my chin to my knee and get in this explosive spot to be able to get out of this route. That's a great job there by Garrett Wilson. Let's watch the thing again, full speed. So second thing, to give you guys more speed out of the breaks, more speed at the top of the route, commit to the break point. Do not start to round early. Do not start to slow down. Commit to that break point. Let's watch it full speed again one more time. Great job by Wilson, staying in stride, being violent with those hips, and getting out of that route. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about how you guys can get more speed off of a speed cut break. Okay, so this is just like that one single cut break, like you would have to run on a 10-yard out, a post route, a corner route, sometimes a dig route, but anything where you got to speed cut it. And it comes down to 2 main things: foot strike and where you are pushing out of the break. So let's watch this routed from Devontae Adams. So he does a great job stemming vertical, and then obviously he gets a ton of speed out of that speed cut to win this race back to the ball. Obviously took care of this DB with this stem, angled the route correctly, got this DB off the platform. We're not really focused on that today. We're focused on the technique of the cut, right? But that also definitely matters to move the DB. But the technique of this cut, I want you to see a couple things. It's very, very similar to that snap down, that trigger step that we love to talk about. But you're obviously not dropping your hips. You're just cutting off of one single step. So you got to make sure that we stay committed, number one. And you see Adams, when he does this, he widens this thing out, but then he takes that vertical stem. Hips and shoulders are committed, and he's in stride. Those are the 2 things. That's that mind-body connection. Those are the things we must have to force myself to be sudden. Now it's all about foot strike, okay? If you guys can commit to the fade, you guys don't start to round, it's all about foot strike. So when Adams puts this foot in the ground, you see how he's striking the ground. Very similar to that snap down step, that trigger step that we were talking about with Metcalf. He doesn't go heel and he's not on his tippy toes. It's arch of the foot. That arch of the foot is where your power comes from, because your shin angle on a speed cut is one of the most important things, because that's what gets you out of the break, right? So when you strike the ground on that arch of your foot, I'm not saying strike the ground on the inside arch of your foot, because that can put a lot of stress on your knee. I'm saying strike on the arch and then push off the inside arch. So you see when Adams, to be able to get out clean at this 90-degree angle, that cut is what changes direction. He's sudden with the cut. That's what will get him out of there. But then he pushes off of that arch. He's pushing off of this thing, opening up that left hip to be able to get out of this route. But that suddenness of the cut to slow himself down while he's committed to the break, that correct foot strike, and then that push off of that inside arch is what gives him that speed out of the break and what can make you run a faster route when you guys have to use a speed cut. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys understand that. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So when we're making a speed cut, commit to the break, strike on the arch, not on the heel, not on the toe, and push off of that inside arch. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Always appreciate the feedback and what you guys have to say. And again, fellas, 12-week long wide receiver gym workout plan, all the gym exercises, workouts, splits, everything that you need to be doing broken down into sets and repetitions for 12 weeks. Check out that very first link in the description below if you want to get access to that, become a faster, more explosive wide receiver. I'll see you guys next time.